Hello, mudroomers. It's Carmen here again today, and I just wanted to come in today to talk about our featured product from this month. I know we posted a handful of samples of some stroke and coat samples, but today I wanted to come in and actually kind of like let you guys know everything that there is to know about stroke and coats, because there's a lot of misconceptions out in the market about them. Some people have never used them before or don't even know what they are. So I'm just going to go from top to bottom. What is a stroke and coat and how do you use it? So I'm just gonna wait here for a second and let a couple people get on, and then I'll just go ahead and go through all of the basics. So this will just kind of be what we would teach in any sort of workshop addressing these products. It's really applicable to a variety of customers, so it kind of dips your toes in a little bit of everything here. So to start with, I'm just going to go over just like the basics about stroke and coat. So stroke and coat is designed as a low fire product, so generally firing it to cone 06, 04 kind of range. It's a highly opaque and pigmented gloss glaze. So you heard me right, it is a glaze. It will fire glossy. It's not an underglaze or anything like that. You can use it underneath a clear glaze, but if you have your entire piece covered with stroke and coat, like you can see in this sample here, it's just going to fire glossy on its own. So this is all stroke and coat, no clear glaze, on a earthenware bisque item and fired to cone 06. So beautiful gloss finish, a nice bright colors, and totally opaque coverage at this firing temperature. So the cool thing about stroke and coat, beyond its amazing performance at low fire, is the fact that you can bring it up to higher temperatures. So the opacity and the pigments, most of them hold up unchanged at higher temperatures, and there are some colors that are going to shift a little bit when you do bring it up to those higher temperatures. So that is information that we do have available on our label. We have our mid-range color results as well as on our website. So our website showcases the multiple firing ranges for all of our products. So for stroke and coat and all of our low fire products, we have cone 06 and cone 6. And then for our mid-range products, we have cone 6 and cone 10 available, just to give you kind of a little bit more information as to how these products perform. So again, stroke and coat holds up great at cone 6, and a lot of the colors even look good at cone 10. So that is just an amazing thing about stroke and coat. When you are bringing it up to higher temperatures, you're not going to get this crisp, clean line work like this. So usually if you're going to be doing it at higher temperatures, I would recommend using it in layering with other glazes. So here we have stroke and coat layered over top of alabaster. This is fruit of the vine over alabaster. So you're just using it in a glaze combination to bring colors that you might not normally have in your stoneware palette. Or here's another technique where we did it with a little bit of slip trailing with a wash. I know I showed this plate I think last week or the week before. And here we have our stroke and coat dots just as like a bright pop of color mixed with some other stoneware products. And here is another great way to use stroke and coat at cone 6 would be to just do like some tape and color blocking. So you see it does stay where you put it, but I still wouldn't recommend layering them or doing design work necessarily with these colors. You're not going to get the same kind of crisp and cleanness. If you like a little bit looser design work, that's great. and they're perfect for that. But anything like this, you're going to want to designate to low fire. Or if this is something you're seeking out at Cone 6, we do have our stoneware gloss glazes available. This is our stoneware gloss glaze at Cone 6. So as you can see, you do have those beautiful, nice, crisp designs. So the stoneware gloss glazes is what I would recommend if you do want design work at Cone 6. But the stroke coats are amazing to add a nice pop of color at those higher temperatures. So another feature of stroke coat is kind of just like how safe of a product it is. We're always getting asked questions. Is this food safe? Is this dinnerware safe? The stroke coat satisfies all of those qualifications. It is certified food safe. It is recommended for dinnerware, and they are even AP non-toxic products. So the AP non-toxic is in regards to the wet glaze itself. So you're handling the wet glaze, you're playing with kids or something, and the kids get in their mouth or something. There's no worry there at all. There's totally non-toxic. And then the food safe and dinnerware safe recommendations are for the fired and finished glaze, in which food safe is qualifying for leaching of lead and cadmium. These guys don't do that at all. And then the dinnerware safe is a Mako recommendation as to whether it can be used on dinnerware, and that's something that we advise based on kind of the durability of the finished surface texture, things like that. And we do recommend our stroke and coat glazes for dinnerware as well. Again, kind of like how I've been touching on, we really love how versatile this product is. It's really, really easy to use for anyone that's using it. We recommend applying 3 coats of glaze generally, but you can apply less coats to have a variety of firing results. So here we have 3 coats of everything, nice opaque coverage. Here I've got a tile sample showcasing different loadings. So here we have a 1 coat application, 2 coat application, and 3 coat application. So as you can see, the opacity and the texture created in the application is going to change based on how many coats you are applying. If you want full opaque coverage with a high gloss finish without applying clear glaze, we recommend to have 3 coats of stroke and coat applied onto your piece for that. Another great thing that makes it really versatile for our users is the fact that stroke and coat can be applied directly onto Greenware. So if you're a teacher or you're paying for all your firings and you're trying to save some time and some money, we'll recommend to just apply directly to the Greenware. You can do it on like leather hard or bone dry, just depending on your personal preference. And one thing that you do want to keep in mind is that you want to leave space for outgassing. So generally, we would advise to leave 1/4 to 1/3 of the space for outgassing. So if you're firing to cone 04, generally if you just leave like the bottom or a good section of it unglazed, then that's enough space. Usually with like you're doing like pottery in a studio setting, usually the bottom is a big enough area for outgassing. And then for cone 6, you're not glazing the bottom of those anyway, so that's a great place to leave space for outgassing as well. Sometimes firing on slow can be helpful. The main thing you're worried about in firing single firing is looking for pinholes, so keeping ample time and space for outgassing is really going to be your primary concern when you're doing something like that. So I just want to go ahead and talk to you guys about how to apply a coat of stroke and coat, because I think everyone has a little bit of a different hand, and actually having a formal application demonstration is really, really good. Just because everyone does do everything a little bit differently. So I'm just going to get a little bit of candy apple red here. And I'm just going to put it on a tile. I have this variety of brushes that I wanted to kind of show you guys how to use. The soft fan brush is my go-to for full coverage application. So nice solid 3 coats. This will usually be what I'm doing when I'm doing stoneware stuff, full coverage. This script liner is something I would use for doing brushwork or any details like this. It's great because you can load a lot of glaze on there, but also still get your nice details in here. And then this is something that I would do for lined work. So all of these are awesome applications for stroke and coat, since it is so great for anything that you want to use it for. So I'm just going to condition my brush in a little bit of water up here. I've got my water, squeeze my brush out. And so for full application with stroke and coat, you know, I just want to fully load my brush. I'm a pretty heavy glazer, so put it on. And as soon as it starts trailing like that, you just want to get a little bit more glaze on your brush and keep doing that. I kind of like to think of it almost like you're like spreading peanut butter along the surface. It's a little bit easier if you start with a lot and then spread it out to make it evenly, instead of just trying to drag it across the bread and you're like tearing up that bread. So there's just like one nice coat of stroke and coat. You can see it's nice and shiny. And so any of these brush marks that you kind of see here, I do notice a lot of people kind of meticulously trying to smooth stuff like that out. This product will level itself out, so you don't have to try to brush all these little marks out. If you apply enough glaze, it kind of just settles in the firing, and you end up with a nice smooth finish. So there's just like one coat of stroke and coat for full coverage. We can go ahead and get another color for doing some brush strokes. And this is something that, well, here, let's do a brush stroke in a blue. And then we'll do the line work with the black. So we'll get our brush stroke with our script liner. So this is something I'm going to fully load it. Well, let's just do a double load so you can see the brush stroke a little better. So I've got my nice fat loading here. I'll double load it with a little bit of the red, do a brush stroke. So this brush stroke application, this is something that I would want to be doing clear glaze over, because as you can see, I'm just doing a single coat. You could also, if you didn't want to apply clear glaze, you could do this over top of a base coat, which you could do with stroke and coat, or even our foundation glazes are really good for doing base coats. So if you don't want to apply clear glaze over this area, since you're only doing 1 or 2 coats and there's not a background color, you could always do a base color. And then finally we'll do our line work. I like to load my liner brush with a little bit of water and pull it through the stroke and coat, and this really helps the glaze flow off the brush a little bit better, since the glaze does have that gum in it. It's just kind of can get stuck up in your brush. So we'll just kind of wing this line here. We'll start at a little fat and then go from there, and then we'll go back around this way. And this is still kind of wet, so it's probably going to get blurry in here. There we go, and there's some nice simple line work. So that's a variety of ways to use stroke and coat with different brushes. And then also there's a lot of different techniques that you can do with stroke and coat as well. So as I showed you previously, we had this tile showcasing the brush strokes with 1, 2, and 3 coat application. And then here, as I showed, we have cone 6 doing taping, which is great to do at low fire as well. I love this kind of technique. You can use stroke and coat in a more painterly fashion. So these are 2 pieces that they had a base coat applied underneath it to avoid a clear glaze application. But you can get some really nice effects just doing even one thinned coat of Stroke Coat to create kind of like a watercolor effect. And same with here, doing some nice shading using Stroke Coat in a really, really painterly fashion, I think is very, very effective. Stroke Coat, because the high pigment and opacity, works really well with light over dark. So here's just a really basic example of using cottontail over tuxedo, showcasing how well this cottontail covers that dark color, which is really, really great. And then another amazing thing is how wonderful these reds are. So these reds, the pigments hold up all the way up to cone 10. Which is really, really great, getting that really bright, vibrant color at those higher temperatures. This tile here was just fired to 06, and then we have 3 different reds available. If you are bringing your reds up to cone 6 or cone 10, it does tend to like a thinner application more than a thick application. So if you're going to be doing a, bring it up, you want to do like maybe 2 coats of glaze instead of 3 coats of glaze. You can get like a kind of orange peel effect, so that's something that you're going to want to kind of be careful for. Stroke Coat also works really, really well in design work, so here we're using it with a silk screen, and then just like 1 coat, and this piece did have a clear glaze applied to it just to cover up all of these. Some colors are going to react with clear glazes is one thing to keep in mind. So a lot of the chrome tin pigments, so a lot of purples, those might react, as well as some of the pink colors. Otherwise, you're good to apply clear glaze on top of it. Yeah, and so that, I guess, kind of goes over just sort of the basics of Stroke Coats. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll go back and answer these. We'll get this guy up on YouTube so that more people can ask questions about it and it's more available to a broader audience. So I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Oh, we do have one question here asking if you can use this with luster. Yeah, you can definitely use most products with luster. Like anything that's going to be fired works pretty well. Like since luster firings is a 3rd firing, it's not that firing at that low of a temperature is not going to affect the results of the Stroke Coat. So if you're firing to 018 or 020 for a luster firing, that's not enough to change any of the Stroke Coat results, so you're going to be totally good to go with any luster firings. So yeah, if anyone has any more questions, feel free to drop them. If I don't catch it by the end of this video, I will definitely tune back in and answer them later. Again, I'm going to get this up on YouTube, link it on Instagram, so I really, really appreciate all of you guys tuning in today. Please let me know what you thought of this video, and if you have any questions or anything like that, definitely reach out to me. So, yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.